Welcome back. US President Donald Trump has expressed optimism about a possible trade deal with India. He said that he expects a trade deal with India to be signed very soon. Even the US Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent has gone on to say that he expects India to be one of the first countries with whom the US will sign a trade deal. The US leader, Donald Trump, told reporters that the Indian administration wants to make a trade deal with US. Trump's comments came shortly after US Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnick revealed that Trump administration has reached its first trade deal. However, he did not reveal the name of the country. These remarks follow US Vice President J.D. Vance's meeting with Prime Minister Modi in New Delhi. Both leaders had also noted significant progress has been made in negotiating a bilateral trade pact. Joining me right now is Jayant Dasgupta, former Indian Ambassador to the WTO. Mr. Dasgupta, do you foresee a trade deal being agreed upon so soon? Howard Lutnick has said that I know that one deal is done, but the Prime Minister needs to get approval. They need to get approval from their parliament. Will the India-US trade deal happen so soon? The negotiations actually began in right earnest only in March.
There are two important aspects which you have mentioned. One is that unlike many other democratic countries, we don't have to go to the parliament to get an approval. We get a cabinet clearance and then sign the deal. And then in the next session of parliament, it's laid on the table of the parliament for information. And of course, there could be a discussion, but it would be an ex post facto discussion. So to that extent, if the Prime Minister and his cabinet decide to sign a deal, it can be done immediately. So that is one thing. The second point is that the US, if we look at the range of products which they manufacture, it is fairly limited. Of course, they do a lot of high-tech manufacturing, but including semiconductors, which of course they are trying to fortify now and strengthen and deep. But barring that, they have more or less vacated the space in the low technology, labor intensive sectors like textiles, like ceramics, like leather, etc. So if we look at the profile of US exports worldwide, I think India can offer, and according to the newspaper reports, there are offers covering about 90% of the tariff lines, which number about 12,000, slightly over 12,000 tariff lines at the 8-digit level, which we use. So if we do that, and then for the balance 10%, of course, there will be some red areas where we will not give any offers at all, and we will continue to maintain our old position. But in some others, we may decide to phase out our tariffs and bring them down over a period of, let's say, 5 years or 10 years, as we have done in other FTAs like the ASEAN FTA, for instance, and the Singapore FTA. So it is possible, very much possible, that India will have a trade deal well within the 90-day period, which is running out on the 8th of July.
Right. Ambassador Dasgupta, do you feel that a deal in goods trade with 90% of the industrial goods, is it possible for India to reduce it down to zero altogether? And what we also hear is that there could be an agreement on bringing tariffs down to 10%. Currently, the US baseline reciprocal tariff, which was imposed by the Trump administration, is at 10%. If India brings down its average applied tariff from around 14% currently to about 10%, do you think we can strike a deal in goods at this tariff rate?
I think so. But it would be a one-off thing with the US only. And the newspaper reports are also saying that India wants to have a forward MFN treatment provided by the US and by India mutually, which means that should India sign any future FTA and brings down its tariffs in certain areas to lower levels than what has been offered to the US will automatically get the same benefits. In investment treaties, it is known as the MFN treatment, but in goods trade, since MFN has a certain connotation, it is now being called forward MFN, which is that in future, if India were to do it with any other country, the best terms will be offered to the US, and the US will also do the same. But mind you, there is a provision, the current position of the US is that it will not enter into any FTAs where it has to give certain things to the other side as well. From the reports coming out of Washington, and from what President Trump has been saying, he is not offered anything in return to any country. It is only a one-way traffic that he has been talking about, that other countries should reduce their tariffs to accommodate what they have enjoyed so far with respect to the US tariffs, which have been very low. So they have gained, and now it is payback time for them. So they should pay back. And there should be a more level playing field for both sides.
Right. We hear that non-tariff barriers are still an issue as far as talks between the two nations go. Do you feel that if there is any kind of early trade deal, non-tariff barriers would not be a part of it, and that would only be in the full BTA that may be agreed upon by fall during Trump's visit?
Non-tariff barriers are difficult to to get rid of completely. For instance, if I may mention, dairy products in the US, which are produced, now the milk cattle there are fed the entrails of certain animals. Similar is the case with poultry. And that may cause problems here because of various religious reasons as well. So we want a certification to be provided which can be verified. And that is where the US has been objecting. It is saying that it has got nothing to do with the health standard, but it is a non-tariff barrier which India is imposing. But we have our legitimate reasons to do that, and I'm sure we will continue to do that. So this is the kind of thing in which it will not be possible to get rid of all that quickly. There are others where, of course, and I think there are 4 areas, apart from tariffs and non-tariff barriers. Customs facilitation and rules of origin have also been mentioned. Now, rules of origin have to be certified by a certain body, or accredited body, that this is the value which has been added in the country from where it is getting dispatched. So the US will have to ensure that it may import semiconductors from Taiwan, but if it is exporting a medical device, a certain value addition is taking place in the US. So that is the kind of rules of origin, and it is cumbersome. It takes a little bit of effort and a lot of money to procure certificates. So the US has been talking about its problems with respect to Indian rules of origin and Indian certification, etc. But we also face the same problems in other markets.
Right. Thank you so much, Mr. Dasgupta, for joining us on the program. So it'll be interesting to see how we come to a conclusion on an early trade deal, an early harvest deal with the US, but there are all indicators in that direction. That's all we have time for. Thank you for watching. Goodbye.